What is up, everybody? We had a great weekend of the NFL playoffs. Thank you for being here. Liam Murphy back to talk some football, talk about the playoffs, talk about some coaching changes, talking about how I see the games the rest of the way, talking all things fantasy football and best ball. That's what we do here mainly. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend and Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So, just going to run through the games to begin here. I made a playoff bracket before the playoffs began. Got all games right except one, which would be I had the Commanders beating I had the Lions beating the Commanders. However, last week's video, I did say of the big spread games, which were Chiefs, Texans, Eagles, Rams, and Lions, Commanders, I thought the Lions were the most likely to lose because of, number one, their defensive injuries is a big reason. And number two, their quarterback is not as good as the rest of the teams. But let's get into it. Let's kick it off with Chiefs, Texans. Probably the worst of the playoff games as it went. Share our screen here. So the Chiefs did prevail 23-14. No big surprise there. This game was tied up in the third quarter. The Texans missed a bunch of field goals, extra points. The Chiefs, not a huge day of offense for them. I do think the Texans defense is pretty good, so that had to do with it. They ended the game with the safety to get the dub. Travis Kelce, pretty big day where, biggest plays of this game were an awesome throw from Mahomes where he goes like lateral and throws a touchdown to an uncovered Kelce in the end zone. Kelce rumbling for 30, 40 yards. And then some ticky-tack personal foul calls on Mahomes. One early in the game where the defender, Will Anderson, hits him up high, debatable. One late in the game that definitely was not a penalty. Mahomes is a runner. Two Texans defenders try to tackle him. They hit each other. Is what it is. The Chiefs do prevail. Story of the Texan season is number one, the injuries to Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell. Hard to overcome that for any team. And number two, CJ Stroud in fantasy. What happened there? Well, obviously he was a pretty terrible fantasy quarterback, even if he was like a 10th round pick. And really what happened there was he had a huge game against the Bucs last year where he went for like 40 fantasy points with some huge downfield throws. And that game was just what people were projecting. They're just like, yes, this is what we're getting. They were ignoring the greater meta of the NFL, which seems to be the cover two era. Teams are running the ball more. All the good teams run the ball, and so, yeah, it's going to be hard to get a quarterback throwing for 5,000 yards until something changes there. So, the Texans could have won this game, but they were outclassed a little bit. Really no surprise. And, the Chiefs defense, I don't know. I don't think they're as good as past years' versions of them. So, going to be an interesting game against the Bills. Next, we had the Commanders upset the Lions. 9-point spread on this one. Very interesting game. A lot of talk about. Number one is Jaden Daniels. First and foremost, Jaden Daniels, obviously incredible. Probably just the best NFC quarterback. I think it's him or Matt Stafford. And it's probably him because he's akin to a Lamar where you have to defend the run and the pass, and he might just be a better passer already, you know, where, Lamar took a couple of years, Jaden Daniels coming out of the cannon ready, doing this with a significantly worse supporting cast than any other playoff team. He's got some guys, obviously, but their run defense isn't that good. They got Terry McLaurin, Diami Brown. Hard to say if he's a byproduct of just Jaden Daniels or if he's kind of developed. He's kind of developed into somewhat of a legit number 2. And so seeing what the Commanders add next year will be very interesting, right? Like, if I'm them, I'm adding a second legit wide receiver opposite of Terry McLaurin or a legit tight end or someone. Commanders should be great for years to come. They go for it on 4th down when they should. Staying aggressive, which you need to do when your defense isn't that good and you're going to live and die by Jaden Daniels. And then, of course, the story is also Jared Goff's turnovers, Jameson Williams turnovers, where, this is a very poetic loss for the Lions in many ways, because if you remember the 2023 draft, the year that Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson came out, the Lions, by happen chance, had like the 6th overall pick in that draft. They ended up trading down to get like the 12th and something like that. And they had a great draft, right? They got Gibbs, they got Laporta, they got Jack Campbell, they got a bunch of great players. However, I thought both the Lions and the Seahawks, 2 teams who were pretty good and just happen to have high draft picks, I thought they should do everything possible to try to get a quarterback if they thought one of Stroud, Richardson, or Bryce Young could be elite. Because Jared Goff, I've said it all year, he's a top 12 to 15 quarterback in the league. He is not an elite quarterback. He is never Jaden Daniels, ever, right? And, he had some turnovers. Obviously, some of that is fluky week to week. But, yeah, the Lions decided to make a great roster. And the thing is, when you make a really great team and you don't have a truly elite quarterback, a quarterback who can just do it with whoever, it is hard. It is hard to win because your window is short, right? Guys, when they're on a great team, they inevitably get paid and they typically leave through free agency. You can't keep everyone. When you have a Josh Allen, when you have a Patrick Mahomes, when you have a Jaden Daniels, when you have a Lamar Jackson, that is your greatness, right? People were saying the Bills' Super Bowl window was closed because a bunch of washed defenders left. How's that look, right? So, yeah, the Lions, great team. They also, I think they did some stupid things. Number one, it's hard to say the impact here, but you look at a team like the Chiefs, and what did they do? They took the double bye. They rested players against the Broncos, and they rested players, obviously, for the bye. And, the mouth breathers out there are saying, oh, that's because they don't want the Bengals to make the playoffs. That's idiotic. They don't want to face the Bills either. They would only ever face the Bills or the Bengals. So the Bills and the Bengals would have played each other. I guarantee you the Chiefs don't want to play the Bills if they had their choice. So why did the Chiefs do the double bye? No, it's not a 1-to-1. The Chiefs are an older team. They're more experienced. They've been to the Super Bowl, obviously. But yeah, I think the Lions playing their starters in meaningless games on a team that has a bunch of injuries, not smart, right? And hard to say. Maybe that caught up to them. Maybe their guys were tired. They lost the game by a wide margin. Obviously, the turnovers are a big part of it. Back-breaking interception at half. We got a little Teddy Two Gloves in this one. Jameson Williams throwing a boneheaded play. And so, yeah, very poetic loss where the story is Jaden Daniels' greatness, Dan Quinn's aggressiveness. Dan Quinn, coach of the year, right? How could you not? And then the Lions, The Lions are going to lose. They've already lost Ben Johnson. They're losing Aaron Glenn. I still think they'll be a great team, obviously. But, you lose a couple guys on the O-line, we'll start to see. So this is on you, brother. I have a Discord. The link is below. I tag everyone when I go live. I also post on Twitter. Twitter's obviously, not a great site to be letting people, go live, but get in the Discord. Tag everyone. And also click that little notification bell on my thing, and you will be notified yourself when I go live. So great win by the Commanders. Next, we had the Eagles beat the Rams. A lot of talk about in this game too. Obviously, Saquon's greatness is a big reason why the Eagles won this game. The game was close, broke off. 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. Broke off a couple huge plays. But, and then, we got the snow in the fourth quarter. All that being said, the Rams were in this. And you have to wonder, at the end of the game, they were going in hurry up. And the thing with the Eagles, and why I have the Eagles as the NFC favorite over the Lions, and this is a lesson again, because the greater public, what are they thinking about when they choose the Lions? Number one, they like that they're the 1 seed. Number 2, they like Dan Campbell. Number 3, they like offense, right? Like they like all the story there. What they're not thinking about is like, what's the overall quality of the roster? They don't think about that. They don't care about that. They're like, oh, they're all good. The Eagles defense is significantly better than the Lions, right? And that's why I had the Eagles as the NFC favorite, because they're the most complete team as far as being dominant on both sides of the football. The Eagles D-line, they had these guys like Jalen Carter and everyone. And so McVay, of course, he wants to huddle up. He wants to run his offense because he's McVay and he thinks he's going to win the game himself with Stafford. But you have to wonder, if the Rams had gone to hurry up a little bit earlier in the game, not let the Eagles get their D-line subs in, tire them out, maybe we would have had a different story in this one, because the Rams were definitely moving the ball. At the end of the game, they were in position to win the game. And the Eagles D-line did come in big. They got a sack off of Stafford. And so, yeah, Stafford, second best quarterback in the NFC. Obviously, the NFC is a significantly worse conference at quarterback than the AFC. Not even close. Thank God Jaden Daniels went to the NFC to try to balance it out a little bit. But yeah, the Rams lost. Not a huge surprise. Big story here is Jalen Hurts' injury. If you caught the reporter after the game talking to him, sound a little drugged up to me. Ate a lot of sacks in this one. I think 8 sacks, 8 a safety, and he got his knee hurt. Still played the game, so should be he's going to play next week, but you just got to wonder, he started this game with a 40-yard touchdown run or something. You got to wonder what he's fully at. I don't think he was in for like one of the tush pushes. And so, yeah. But great game. And that brings us to the Bills-Ravens game, where, a lot of talk about in this one. Number one, you guys heard me. I told you the Bills, people are trying to look at a week 4 game and pretend that is going to be predictive. Number 2, as I said, the Bills, the first time they played the Ravens, didn't have like 36% of their starting defense. Taylor Rapp left the game. He got an interception. Also got hurt again. Bernard missed the first one. He's the one who punched out the ball from Andrews. Huge play. Also made a bunch of huge plays. Matt Milano didn't play that week. He's the one who tipped the first 2-point conversion and also made a bunch of big plays in the game. And Teron Johnson missed that game, and he had a bunch of big plays for the Bills defense as well. And then people got all up in arms when I said Derrick Henry being the 101 in these drafts is ridiculous compared to Saquon and Jahmyr Gibbs. Derrick Henry got like 14 fantasy points. Absolutely nothing in the first half. A lot of this came in the second half. Got a touchdown. Got some 10-yard runs when the Bills were trying to defend the pass with the Ravens down big. And it was just ridiculous to think that Derrick Henry, against a team that they very easily could be trailing against. And the Bills were going to be prepared for Derrick Henry. And what the Bills did is they're typically a huge zone team. They ran the most man coverage they ever have. They learned. They adjusted in the second half of that first game. So again, adding context to situations, huge edge. Many people didn't know anything about that. Lamar, I definitely think Lamar can win a Super Bowl now. He obviously was great in that game. Some huge backbreaking plays by him, though, in the first half. Threw an interception to Taylor Rapp, who exited the game. Damar Hamlin forced a fumble on him where he drops the ball in the slippery cold. I definitely think the cold impacted Lamar. Miami kid, cold weather in the first half. And so, the Bills defense forcing a bunch of the Ravens didn't punt. Yeah, maybe because they turned the ball over 3 times. And so the Bills were up 21-10 at half, and then we go in the second half. I think the Bills played a little tight. I think they were trying to churn clock. And even if the Mark Andrews 2-point conversion had been good, which, Lamar definitely threw it a little late. And again, it's hard to catch the ball in that weather. It was a good play call, though. The Bills would get the ball back with 1:33 and 2 timeouts. They almost certainly, they'd be like 70% to win and win probability there. So Mark Andrews, 2 backbreaking plays. If the halves were reversed, if Lamar's turnovers happened in the second half and Andrews in the first half, the talk would all be about Lamar. Obviously, it's all ridiculous. The Bills made some great plays. Andrews didn't make the plays when you needed them. He is an older player, and the Bills got it done. The big story for Buffalo is the Broncos and the Ravens were number 1 and number 2 in run defense. Both had their worst run defense outings of the year against Buffalo, where people realized the Ravens were a good running team. I don't think they realized how good the Bills' O-line is. And so, if you get the Bills against the Commanders, they might average like 10 yards a carry, and the Chiefs defense, good defense, but not on the same level as the Ravens or the Broncos at stopping the run. I thought the number one thing I was worried about, the Ravens didn't even do, because the Bills field cold, slippery, not heated. And in that, you could see it on the Curtis Samuel route where he changed directions and you just can't keep up. So I thought the quick guys who could change direction could give every defense fits. And the Ravens didn't do any design runs to Lamar, which I thought would have been, they could have broken some big plays if they did that. Ravens fans, don't worry, you'll get your MVP participation award, right? Oh, the Ravens got 9 Pro Bowlers. The Bills got 1. And people are pretending that people weren't saying the Bills Super Bowl window was closed. They absolutely were. And it wasn't all mouth breathers. You had PFF guys saying that the Bills gutted their roster. We got receipts on that, right? The team that just gutted their roster, talking about the Bills, should trade from 28 into top 10. Again, adding context, the Bills got rid of Trey White, who is 29, back-to-back season ending injuries. Actually played okay this year. He was on the Ravens. Jordan Poyer, who's 32 and a safety. Micah Hyde, who's 33 and a safety. He's on the Bills practice squad. Mitch Morse, center, 31, overpaid. The only good player they got rid of is Stephon Diggs. And that was a great trade to get a second round pick, right? It wasn't just mouth breathers saying that the Bills Super Bowl window was closed. The Jets were betting favorites over Buffalo to win the division late in the year before the season started, right? So huge win for Buffalo. It all brings us to next week. Playoff best ball. I guess I'll go there first. I'm done. Bounced. Is what it is. I wouldn't say I got unlucky in pod luck. I just didn't get lucky where I did have a couple Bills, Commanders, Eagles teams. Number one, if the Chiefs were going to reach the Super Bowl, I was never winning anyways. I only had like a couple teams live there. But yeah, I had a couple Bills, Commanders, Eagles teams who got like second in their pod. They would have advanced in some other pods. Again, pod luck, way bigger thing in playoff best ball. I only did 4 gauntlet returns. So really the main contest I did was the gauntlet. Did 100. Had a couple that had a chance, but yeah, was a Saquon huge game, Gibbs huge game. You almost certainly weren't advancing without one of those two. And yeah, you just want to be like lowest scoring pod that advanced. I saw teams advance with like 70 points. I also saw teams advance with 100 points. There's going to be a lot of dead teams advancing, of course. So if you can form a 5-person Super Bowl at this point, you should feel good about your playoff best ball team. And yeah, I mean, it is pod luck is a huge part of playoff best ball. It just is, right? It's a volume game in that sense. It's funny. I did 4 gauntlet returns. All 4 got second. Is what it is, right? Yeah, I mean, I think I like to do my favorite ways to build playoff best ball drafts is either a full 2 and hope that your guys do good enough, or I think the optimal favorite is you do 3 teams. So Commanders, Eagles, Bills, for example. I had a couple of those. They just needed to be in a better pod, you know? Yeah, that's a pretty bad pod. Kelsey, big game as well. Let's talk about these upcoming games before we do any drafts. Let's see if we got the spreads here. So we got the Eagles as a 6-point favorite. Wow, no respect still at home. And the Chiefs at home are sitting as 2-point favorites currently. Nearly identical over unders around 48. Actually identical right now, 47.5, courtesy of Fantasy Lab. So here's what I'll say about these games, both on Sunday, as you can see. That's great, brother, but I'm sorry the Bills are getting this game. So, Commanders, Eagles. What's it going to take? Guys, help me out here. Has a rookie ever won the Super Bowl? Did Roethlisberger win the Super Bowl his rookie year? Did Russell win it his rookie year? Can't quite remember. Help me out with that. Someone I'm getting no's. Ben went and lost. Okay. Ben year 2. What about Russell? So, all right, Commanders, Eagles. The Eagles are a far more complete team again, right? Like Saquon legitimately might run for 300 yards. His over-under is like 127.5, which is a ridiculous spread. What would I do if I'm the Commanders? I would run hurry up the whole effing game. Cliff Kingsbury is no stranger to the hurry up, right? Run hurry up, tire out their D line, and let Jaden Daniels be great. Go for it on 4th. Keep that up. Let's look up the weather too, by the way. I think the weather's supposed to be fine. Weather we're getting right now, 39 degrees, 6 miles per hour. That is like pristine playoff weather. Chiefs, 32 degrees, 5 miles per hour. Again, 2 pristine games. By the way, the people who want a dome for every game, get off your phones for a little bit. Go in nature a little bit. Stop obsessing only about fantasy football. Weather games are iconic. Some of the most iconic games in all of NFL, most memorable games are snow games, right? And anyone who played football growing up knows, especially people who grew up in the Northeast, Midwest, wherever, somewhere where it snows, knows that you got to be mentally effing tough to play in the cold. It's a little bit different when it's 10 degrees to hold on to the ball and to be hit, right? And good teams can push through that. So I don't want to hear about the best team doesn't always win sometimes when it's cold, right? Like, I got really no issue with the Super Bowl being in a dome. Although personally, I would like something like, I don't know, every 5th Super Bowl to be an outdoor stadium where you maybe could get some weather. No, give me a break, right? Like, not every game needs to be in a dome. And the Lions, if they could have their choice, they'd probably rip up their dome with how their team's built with a great O-line, You are dead for first because I think you're duped, but you are going to get second, I think. I'm in like 99th, so I only did 3. I think I'm going to win a main event entry off of it. If I had done Jacobs instead. But yeah, congrats, brother. I think you have a really great chance of getting second. But I think the guy in front of you has you duped and more points. So yeah, I like the snow. That the end of the Eagles-Rams game, super fun in the snow. Bills, I mean, look, the Ravens weren't prepared for the cold quite the same in the first half. They weren't, right? So yes, Commanders, Eagles, what would I do? I'd run the hurry up. I don't know how they're going to stop the run. They're really not. And then the real question is, I mean, clearly with this spread, I guess Jalen Hurts is going to be fine. And yeah, Jaden Daniels needs to be perfect, pretty much. Needs to be perfect. Bills, Chiefs. So yeah, I truly was not worried about the Ravens. I really thought Buffalo was going to get through it. I did think Lamar was going to have some turnovers in that game. This game, much bigger test, right? Obviously, the Bills and the Chiefs have met every year in the playoffs as of recently. Many people view it as like the unofficial championship game, even if they don't meet in the championship, just because many people view Allen and Mahomes as the best 2 quarterbacks in football. I'm hoping there's not some crazy penalties for Mahomes like we've kind of been seeing. I think that's probably a little overblown, but you hope it doesn't come down to that. And yeah, I think this game should be great. I got Buffalo winning it. I think this might be a game where we see vintage Allen. This might be the Chiefs' run defense. They're not the same as Baltimore. They're not the same as Denver, who the Bills had no issue moving the ball on it. It wouldn't be a Bills-Chiefs matchup without some significant injuries on the Bills side. But I will say, I think the Bills are the health, like last year, they were decimated. The year they lost in the championship game, they were also decimated on the defense. They were the best defense in football that year, and then they lost like 5 guys. This year, fully healthy pretty much, except for we had Taylor Rapp get hurt at the in that game. He's the safety. Cole Bishop, who's a 2nd-round pick from the Bills this year, would be the replacement. So, not great when you have probably your better safety possibly missing. But McDermott did say day-to-day, even though the guy was in significant pain and didn't play. And then Christian Benford, who is the Bills' top corner, and he got concussed on the 2-point or the onside kick right at the end of the game. Look, anyone who's concussed is going to play a game. You hope he's not actually super hurt. He wasn't really like celebrating the win with the team. If you see him on the kickoff, he's kind of like just like walking around aimlessly. Sad to see. Hope he's okay. And then of course, Teron Johnson, I think people saw fell on his shoulder, but he returned to the game, so I'm expecting him to be okay. Um, and yeah, I think, Matt Milano against Kelsey, gonna be huge. And then for the Chiefs, okay, they got Hollywood for this game. Xavier Worthy is a much better football player than he was early in the season. If you remember that Bills Chiefs game, Mahomes just missed Worthy on some deep shots where Worthy did some boneheaded things. Probably will be better at that here. And so, path for the Bills to win will be a combination of them running the football, Allen being special, just continue to score. For the Chiefs, it's going to be obviously Mahomes being great and picking apart possibly some backup defenders. I do have the Bills prevailing. There will be huge narratives about this game, no matter how it goes. I think if the Bills beat the Chiefs, many people will accept/say that maybe Josh Allen's the best quarterback on the planet. They won't just give it to Mahomes. And if Mahomes wins, it will be that the Bills will never win the Super Bowl, choke artists, yada, yada. Obviously, that's all ridiculous, but yeah, I don't think it will come down to the refs. I think it will come down to the better team winning. And if the Bills beat the Chiefs and then beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, I think it could be argued that they had the hardest path to winning the Super Bowl. The Broncos, whatever. But beating the Ravens, beating the Chiefs, beating the Eagles, also beating the Chiefs and Lions in the regular season would be amazing. Let me know. Let me put a poll out there. Let me know who you guys want to win in the Super Bowl. Teron Johnson is he got injured on that last play. Let's see here. Poll. Let's see who's winning this. Love when it serves me ads on my own YouTube channel. Let's go Bills, Chiefs, Eagles, Commanders. So we got that poll live. Yeah, I just watched my own ads, dude. That's cool, man. Yeah, and like the Bills, no one's really giving Buffalo their flowers. All the talk is about how the Ravens beat themselves, which is just kind of the nature of how people are. People like to hate. They don't like to celebrate, drives clicks. Obviously there's some media bias for Lamar, which is for a couple reasons. Some of them are trying to justify their MVP votes. And then also Lamar faced some negative bias for him to go 32nd in the draft, which I watched like 5 cut-ups of him and I was like, this dude should be a top 10 pick. And he goes 32nd in the draft. He consistently was dissed early in like executive polls and stuff like that. So obviously some of the old loser white men of the NFL had some bias against Lamar. They've definitely been proven wrong. I think the big question with Lamar is just like Tyreek Hill, pretty much Tyreek Hill is when he loses a step, when he's no longer as electric as a runner, he's clearly a good passer. What will he be? What will he be then? Because, you have a Josh Allen and he's already not running as much as he used to. But he can pass the ball. And the way he runs is different than a Lamar. He's a run over you. He's not a run around you, right? And that can kind of age fine, right? You just got to be able to take the hits, which he can. By the way, any Ravens fans out there, how much does Michael Pierce weigh? That dude looks like 400 pounds. Yeah, not beating yourself, definitely a big part of the game. It's got to be so annoying for Lamar. And obviously, Mark Andrews, sorry for him. Ravens fans are going to blame him. Look, if Lamar doesn't throw the interception, if Lamar doesn't have the fumble, maybe they're in a better position there. I think the Bills in the second half would have obviously played the game differently if they weren't up by a bunch of points. Yeah, no, but there's just no way he's 350, dude. He's like, he's bigger than that. He's bigger. So before we get to some drafts, Ben Johnson officially goes to the Bears. I think it's a great decision for him. I think people saying like, oh, Ben Johnson won't be, his offense won't work with Caleb Williams because he's not Jared Goff. Look, Caleb Williams' ceiling is significantly higher than Jared Goff, right? So I think Caleb Williams is going to work out. I think Ben Johnson made the right decision. That's what I said the Bears originally. It's going to be awesome having Ben Johnson versus Dan Campbell for many years to come. And I'm really excited to see how the Bears approach the offseason. I think Gene T, again, I've been saying this, I think Gene T is a very desirable pick for them. You know, this is a team that, this is a guy who just saw the value of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. And so getting their Jahmyr Gibbs, if you would, for Caleb Williams makes sense. And then obviously O-line is going to be a big emphasis for the Bears. You can't have Caleb eating 40 sacks a year. And so I think following their free agent additions is going to be key there, right? Just like how I said, you know, once the Commanders signed Marcus Mariota, I was like, hello, guys, they're going to draft Jaden Daniels. And people were like, that's not good logic. That doesn't mean anything. Yes, it does. Good teams try to get backups who can mentor their rookie quarterback. And obviously Marcus Mariota is a good mentor for Jaden Daniels versus like a Ryan Fitzpatrick, you know? So I think if the Bears splash big in free agency for O-line and are looking pretty good there, I could see them going Gene T and then hitting some O-line later in the draft. I think the free agent running back class is pretty trash. So unlikely there, you know, to kind of add anyone. DeAndre Swift, I mean, he's kind of like a poor man Gibbs already. And so, but you got to wonder, the Lions jettisoned him. Ben Johnson coached him. So maybe instead they stick with Swift and they try to add a thumper. You know, they try to add a big boy to get their Montgomery, which could also be Gene T. But yeah, and then it seems like Aaron Glenn, the D coordinator for the Lions, is also going to leave. He seems like he is the top guy for the Jets. I don't really know why Aaron Glenn would want to go to the Jets. I guess, though, that he doesn't really have a choice because it seems like the Jaguars are going to get Liam Cohen. And so the only other options are like the Saints and the Raiders, which, yeah, I mean, the Raiders' steam was kind of ridiculous for Ben Johnson. No one who's desirable wants to go in a division with Herbert and Mahomes and not have a quarterback. And they probably also don't want to be under Tom Brady, you know, where they don't want Tom Brady to get all the credit for them. They all believe in themselves. But yeah, Ben Johnson to the Bears. Very tough division, obviously, but pretty electric. I like it for them. I like it for Caleb. Huge for him in fantasy. The two guys who you got to wonder if they're going to get any love are Todd Monken from the Ravens and Joe Brady from the Bills, where Are they not going to get credit because their quarterbacks are Josh Allen and Lamar? Or, like the Saints got to get someone. And so do the Raiders. And it does seem like the Jags are going to get Liam Cohen, which seems like a great signing to me as well. And the Pats, man, Mike Vrabel, that's just fine. That's fine, right? He's not great. He's not terrible. He's mid, in my opinion. And again, the vast majority of teams, you need to bottom out if you're going to be great. You need to get the Jaden Daniels, right? Oh yeah, and the Cowboys, obviously. Cowboys, the team I haven't mentioned. I wonder what they'll do. Jerry Jones is a very weird owner to work for in many ways. Guys, let me know who's leading the poll. I can't check that for some reason in StreamYard. I don't want to work it up. Who's winning the poll for who's going to win the Super Bowl? The Jets are always a desirable place because it's New York City. And then the Cowboys, again, like Dallas, America's team, yada, yada. But what are our percentages here, Brock? So, yeah, I don't know. Like, you could see, obviously, the Bills and the Ravens both don't want to lose Joe Brady and Todd Monken. But I could see one of them going to Dallas. The Saints, man. The Saints are very undesirable. Wow, that's kind of crazy. The Saints are very undesirable to me. Dallas at least has Dak, but I think the question of like Dak Prescott's health is fair to wonder. The other thing I want to talk about before we get to the drafts is how I rank the NFC quarterbacks, which, again, I want to add. I think this would be fun, by the way. If the next 3 Super Bowl winners went Bills, Ravens, Bengals, where Josh, Lamar, and Burrow all get a Super Bowl, it'd be pretty fun. Davis had a funny comment here. I would pray for all my friends and families in Kansas City because I would assume I was a victim of a nuclear strike. I mean, look, Mahomes is great, but to pretend that he's going to just win the Super Bowl every year is fan delusion. This is how I had the NFC quarterbacks ranked. And again, the NFC is a very talent-starved conference. This is how I have it ranked like this year. So Caleb Williams, I think he's going to be on this list next year, right? Jaden Daniels, Matt Stafford, Jordan Love is a hot take to some. The reason why I have Love here is I don't think people understand how hurt Love was this year. And I think a healthy Love, people will have no issue with this. You simply don't do what he did the year before in the playoffs without being great. His first game of the season, he was also electric. He got hurt. He pushed through. He got hurt again. I think it's debatable that they have no true number 1 wide receiver. And so I think Jordan Love is going to get some love. A lot of people think I have Jalen Hurts too low and too high. Hurts, to me, has the ability to dominate a game. So is he the best pure passer? No, he's not at all, right? Can he absolutely gut you and run for first down after first down? Yes. And again, it's really hard to isolate supporting cast. For example, if you put Jalen Hurts on the Cardinals and Kyler Murray on the Eagles, I think perception would be different there. Dak Prescott, he's obviously a great quarterback. I do question his health. He's getting up there in age. How old is Dak now? Is he like 32? 31? Gonna be 32. Brock Purdy, again, I think 6 to 10 is like throw whoever you want here. I think Brock's pretty good. Again, he's had a great supporting cast. Jared Goff, he's a fine guy, pretty good. He's had a great supporting cast. Kyler Murray, a lot of people are like, absolutely not. But again, like the Cardinals team has been pretty terrible around Kyler, right? And then Baker, everyone's in love with Baker because he has a good fantasy season, but The Bucks have an elite O-line, something that can't be said for Kyler Murray, you know. Couldn't be said for Purdy this year. Couldn't be said for Prescott. And, you know, he had Mike Evans. Jalen McMillan's pretty solid. He has Liam Cohen. So it's like, I think if you put some of these quarterbacks on the Bucks, they would be viewed high as well. And yeah, I mean, like, I like Baker. He's a tough guy. But yeah, this tier is all equal to me, right? Like, there's really no huge separation. I think Caleb Williams, I could easily see being, you know, like Caleb Williams could be viewed as like 3 next year if things go well. And yeah, I mean, like, how do quarterbacks go in the total NFL? I mean, I have it Josh, Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert. So like, and then maybe Stafford, right? So it's a bunch of AFC guys at the top there. We really need Daniels and Caleb Williams, or really Caleb Williams, to be a stud. And then it's like Drake May went to the AFC, so he could easily make the list of top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL as well. Yeah, Geno, whatever, man. Like, Geno's a solid guy, right? And all the people are, you know, no Caleb Williams, dude. How could you have Caleb Williams on the top 10 from his rookie year, right? And again, a lot of people hate the love. A lot of them are not fans of him. McCarthy, dude, he didn't even play. How are you gonna have McCarthy here? A lot of people would have had Sam Darnold like 5 before these playoffs, right? So yeah, if you want to just blindly bet on the AFC to win the Super Bowl every year in the preseason, it's probably a pretty good bet. Not financial advice. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll get another head coach opportunity this year, but okay. Let's see what we got in the lobbies here. Looks like we got some battle royales. I think I'm going to rip a couple of those. Bryce Young, yeah, you could see Bryce Young. Again, it's so hard to isolate quarterbacks from their supporting cast. Got to join on the phone, of course. And can't wait for Sunday, man. Is this Buffalo's year? I think the Super Bowl most people don't want to see is Chiefs Eagles. Fans of the Ravens seem to go both ways. Some of them are sour that they got bounced by Buffalo, and so they just want to root for, love this little dog, Patrick Barnes YouTube. So they want to just root for the Chiefs. A lot of people go that way. Other people just don't want to see the Chiefs again. That's how I probably would have gone. But yeah, it should be fun. I think a lot of people would like to see the Commanders in the Super Bowl. Obviously, a big spread in that game. Yeah, I don't think, my guess for how most people want the Super Bowl to go is most people probably want Bills Commanders, and then they want Bills Eagles, and then they want Commanders Chiefs, and then they would like Chiefs Eagles. Anthony Richardson for the Colts fans, something I saw today. Give this a watch if you haven't seen it. I retweeted it, but Josh Allen, I mean, there's like a couple guys credited for helping turn around Josh Allen and his accuracy issues. One I've not heard about is Chris Hess, who's a biometrics coach, basically helping you with your shoulder. Like, you don't want your shoulder to go first when you're throwing the ball. You want it to snap, you want your hip to go and you snap through at the end. And so Richardson's obviously got some issues with his passing. And so Chris Hess should be a big guy for him. The other guy is Jordan Palmer, quarterback coach, brother of, wow. I probably would have taken Josh at the second pick, so feels awesome to get him here. Yeah, why not? Bills' top 2 players here. You got to take Saquon 101. Seems ridiculous not to. So, yeah, if Richardson, I'm not going to be out on. If he is still the Colts starter, he gets this guy, Chris Hess, to help fix him. I like to see that, Yeah, see, a lot of people got stuff like that. They'd rather stick with the evil they know, Mahomes, versus see a different quarterback win than their quarterback so that they can pretend their quarterback's better. See, a lot, yeah. We're all no Bengals, no legitimacy. Hilarious. They're worried that the Bills are going to win, so they're trying to discredit it already. It's amazing how the human mind can work. No, that's not. I mean, rude, number one. Two, I mean, Josh Allen was like that. Like, look, dude, the truth is in college, they're not trying to develop you. They're trying to win football games. They're trying to get paid, So, it's not unusual. I think Diami Brown seems like a good pick. All right, one more time, Dalton. One more time, brother. He might be there, though. Do these guys all have tight ends? Yeah, they do. All right, we're not doing Dalton. Definitely doing Diami. And then I think Pacheco versus Hollywood's close, but we're going to do Hollywood. Plan to end it with Kincaid. Doubt many people are going to want to double tight end him. Except Patrick Barnes, dude. He did. Pretty good looking team. Hollywood obviously had a bagel in the playoffs, but his route participation was strong. I almost advanced in the $500 best ball. I only did a couple of those, but my team almost advanced with no quarterback. It lost by like half a point. So yeah, the best ball journey is over for now for this year. Finally, a great year for me. 2 teams in the finals. 30th place in Best Ball Mania. Big board. The big board should be out the week before the Super Bowl or so. And I will have, we go, Knox. I will have, and I think that's a gamble I should always take, going Hollywood over Kincaid, because like not everyone's going to double tight end. I will have my big board rankings out around the first week that the contest drops. not the day it drops. It's not as valuable to draft the second that the contest drops in that. Rookies, it'll take me a little bit to get calibrated on, but I'm going to do my research there. Going to have some strategy articles too. So you can find all that at beatbestball.com. $100 for the year currently. Might go up in price. So get in before I become smarter with that. I just got that. Oh, you mean the other contest? Yeah. Let me check on this, the poll results here. We got Bills at 40%, Chiefs at 37%, Eagles at 10%, Commanders at 13%. No, I have no squads going, Alan. Bounced. Yeah, let's rip Josh too. Why not? See how bad it gets. This team's probably going to be significantly worse. I mean, if the whole field's going to be waiting on quarterback, obviously you got to wait on quarterback. 0, brother. Dunzo. Didn't get lucky in my pods, really. Which is a huge part of this game for playoff best ball. Bigger than it is for regular season best ball. AJ Brown. Seems good. Hey, Alan, congrats, brother. A lot of people who watch this channel win tournaments. Subscribe, join the Discord, links below. No, I know that this is why the game's hard, right? I potentially nailed the Super Bowl having a yes, let's do that. Potentially nailed the Super Bowl having a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl, but we did not get any teams through. Yeah, playoff best ball I don't like as much, but, you know, gotta get some in there. And the other thing I do is I drafted a lot of Jalen Hurts with the thought that I want the quarterback in the Super Bowl if Hurts makes the Super Bowl. And ironically, like Saquon might just straight up outscore Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl. Yeah, Pacheco was pretty rough in that game. There's nothing to review, brother. We're out. Unless you want to see my losing teams. I don't know if that's great content, but we could do that. We'll do Kincaid this time. So, okay, strategy for these. I mean, there's not a lot, but top strategy, don't do what I did, taking quarterbacks high, or do what I did and scroll down. So get your Curtis Samuels, get your Matt Collins, get your Ray Davises. There you go. No, yeah, I mean, I had like 3 teams that were Commanders, Eagles, Bills. Would have felt nice to get him through, but one was like really close to getting out, and the other ones were in like crazy high scoring pods. And honestly, I'm just happy the Bills win. Like, we'll take that. Wow, Jalen Hurts going undrafted in this. Or no, he goes to that guy, obviously. Okay, how we getting weird here? Ty, welcome to the squad. I personally wouldn't, but it is okay to dupe yourself on such a small slate with the idea that first place might be chopping it up. If you think you are doing a rare optimal draft and you are volume drafting these, which I almost never do, it's okay to dupe a team twice to try to just like, and you hope that you and 4 other people, you get two of the teams. Are people just like not listening? We're out. We're out. I think people are just joining the stream and asking the same question. Oof. Ouch. Yeah, the tie break's brutal. And another reason why you should draft early, because one of the last tie break for playoff best ball is whatever team was drafted first. Fair point, Matthew. Yeah, but the thing, Harbs, is this was the market was also in on Buffalo. Josh Allen was the 101. I did try to jam Buffalo by being unique, but I did it by doing James Cook. And I don't think I drafted enough Commanders, and the lessons you can learn for playoff best ball is also like he said, I learned some playoff best ball this year. Don't always pair the 1 seeds. Don't always assume a certain team will win. I mean, those are variance lessons to me. You would have been really happy if Tampa Bay won, which they were close, and then if they won again, right? So some of your lessons are just results-oriented thinking, which is not really a lesson. It's just what happened, Yeah, like if the Bills didn't kick that field goal, which I think was a really close decision, but I did think they made the right decision kicking the field goal. If the Bills get a touchdown there, maybe I get a couple teams through. So how far is Josh falling in these? I'm sure Josh is going in the 3rd round sometimes, but whatever. I'm not volume drafting these. And that was probably a good time to pass on Josh since I took Terry, but it is what it is. This year, yes, Connor. Not every year. I mean, obviously every year you need usually at least 5. But this year there's going to be so many dead teams advancing due to Jahmyr Gibbs. And if the Eagles lose, that will also have a lot of dead teams. But yeah, I thought the Bills should have either on the at the end of the game when they kicked the field goal to go up 8. I do think the field goal was the right decision because you can win so many ways. You either win via stopping the Ravens, or you win via stopping the 2-point like they did, or you win by them scoring too fast and you kicking a field goal. And if at worst none of that happens, you get the ball in overtime and you can win that. So yeah, I think you just need to kick the field goal there from around the 3-yard line. But on their 3rd down play, I personally either would have tush pushed it or I would have done play action because everyone's expecting to run there. And so you do play action, you hit a pass there, and you get Josh scrambling so that if the pass isn't there, then he can run on the outside. Get a little weird build here where Josh rushes it, brings very few bills, and this game shoots out. I mean, it could be a loss, right? You could go in for the field goal, you could fumble or whatever, but almost certainly not a loss. Hell yeah, man. That sounds awesome. How cold were you? What were you wearing to stay warm? Might as well go Knox again. All right, we're gonna wait on quarterback on this one probably. Layers. Yeah, and I thought the spot on the first, I thought Allen was for sure down at the 1, to the point where the Bills maybe should have even challenged it, but they marked him at like the 2.5 to begin. On second down, that is, not on third. The Commanders field goal kicker is pretty shaky, so even more reason for them to keep on going for it. Yeah, there are gonna be a lot of dead Detroit guys. Which, coincidentally, people who paired Detroit Chiefs, they might get the Chiefs through because of that. Huge equity shift not getting the 101, by the way. Saquon is just going to like outproject every player by quite a bit. I do think Cook getting in with Allen is also pretty nice. Yeah, it will be interesting to see. I mean, you gotta know who reaches the Super Bowl first, but it'll be interesting to see the teams that make it / win. So we gambled for Daniels here, but now that he's gone, take our quarterback at 19 or 22. I don't think Kenny Gainwell is like really ever a good pick, but sure, brother. Actually, no, we're gonna do Josh. Why not? But okay, yeah. If Josh is going in the third, then he's also going in the fourth and fifth sometimes. Yeah, I mean the winning team could literally be a quarterback-less, like Saquon, James Cook, Shakir, AJ Brown. There you go. That's some good pod luck. Let's take a second quarterback. Let's see if it will let me. Gotta try. Gotta try, right? Yeah, we'll do B-Rob. Let me know what you guys think about the comment. I've gotten this both ways. Some people want me to have some like lo-fi beats in the background for when I'm solo streaming, which I used to like. I did it for a little bit and people were like, no. I think during like my main streaming cycle during the summer, people don't like it because they want to listen to me. But during something like this, maybe where it's not as like educational. No. A lot of people want to criticize the winning team. Noted. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a huge music guy. It's the TikTok generation. They need constant stimulation. They can't have a moment of silence. I mean, not getting Saquon is basically like just enter the next draft for these. So basically, if you're going to be volume drafting these, you got to make your Saquon teams count. Obviously, Saquon gets hurt in the first quarter, okay. But other than that, I think the Bills were a bit conservative, definitely in the second half. However, I understood it. They wanted the clock to churn. They didn't want any turnovers. No momentum swings. Oh, okay. Okay. Great analysis. Bing, bong, boom, ba, boom. Boing. I don't have TikTok, but I have seen like cut ups of like the people having like, I don't know, like video arcade games on the side while they're talking and just like random sounds. Those things are insane. Just like the brain melting. People love my rap. The haters are sad. They're sad, man. It's okay, dude. You can always have next year. Okay. Jaden and Smith. Why not? Good old game stack. I'm okay with fans from all teams. The Ravens fans, though, they were talking some craziness. Oh, the Bills' defense is coming. Their defenders coming back won't matter. I don't care if everyone thinks Buffalo gets lucky. Let's just win the Super Bowl, baby. They can think whatever they want. Kansas City had a lot of luck. No one talks about that anymore. I do think Josh Allen will be getting way more hate if he had the turnovers Lamar did. Is what it is. People like to hate. A little game stack. It's a great teammate. Yeah, that's where I'm at too. If the Bills are going to give up a touchdown, give it up with a minute 30 with 2 timeouts. You're welcome, brother. I wouldn't say dodging my rooms in a 4-man draft is that important, but yeah, I mean, probably just take Hopkins here. It was going to get weird, but he could totally catch a touchdown in a losing effort. All right, last one. Last one of the day, folks. Be sure to like and subscribe. Helps me out. And got to be in the know if you're going to be doing best ball. Yeah, the Bills did a great job forcing turnovers. That's what great defenses do. In today's NFL, you're simply not stopping elite offenses. And so you are heavily incentivized as a defense to try to punch the ball out. And that's how the Bills are coached. They're coached well, and that's what they achieved. Yeah, and if you guys missed it, they didn't really show this on the broadcast, but on the next drive, the Bills also punched the ball out. It just bounced right back into the guy's hands. He punched it out. He's going down. It bounces off the ground right into his hands. I mean, if you're Mark Andrews, bro, your game is not really yak. You're not juking people out. They're pretty high. I think they're number one in like turnover differential. I don't know though. So obviously you just wait on quarterback now. You're gonna be volume drafting these. Gambling on Amari Cooper, Mac, Curtis Samuel, and Keon seems probably pretty good too. So few people are gonna want to do it. It depends on how confident the Bills are to stop like the deep ball to Hollywood and Xavier Worthy. Like if they don't think they need a bunch of help for that, then Kelsey should be relatively reined in. But I think they are gonna do that, so that's gonna open up the field a little bit. So yeah, Kelsey will probably get his. Yeah, a huge difference having their linebacking core healthy. I was gonna do something different, but I mean Eckler's pretty nice projection. Pretty good team. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back tomorrow with Davis. You knew that, the co-stream show with Davis would end up Bills versus Chiefs. It's my year, though. Best Ball Mania showed that. The Bills will show that. I will see you all tomorrow. Appreciate you being here. Like, subscribe, join the Discord, links below. Check out beatbestball.com. Gonna be reorganizing the site, getting rid of some old articles, adding some new articles. We'll have big board rankings out soon. Enjoy your days. Peace.